everyone, Randy here, and I want to start out by wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And what better way to do that than putting together a computer for a giveaway. And for this giveaway computer, everyone, well, we got a pretty good computer here. In fact, we got one item here I can't even fit in the picture. We are also including in a Logitech heavy equipment wheel as well. So there's one more item here that is not in the picture here. So what do we have? Well, let's go through the hardware here real quick, and then we'll start assembling it. And like I said, stay tuned for details on how you can win this computer. Okay, everyone, so in no particular order here on the hardware, we're starting off with the cooler here, which is a Corsair H100. This is an all-in-one water cooling loop here. Dual fan radiator. That's 240 millimeters, by the way. And then, of course, the pump unit that sits on the CPU block. These are definitely starting to become more and more common. And at least with the CPU we're getting here, you definitely will have some benefits. Now, by the way, I do not plan on overclocking this CPU at all, but just for whoever does win this, with this cooler and the CPU in here, you can definitely do that. But let's just say, do it at your own risk. So, that is the cooler. Okay, power supply. This will definitely give you some overclocking possibility here as well. I mean, you got 1200 watts. So, we got the Corsair, and let me just say, this thing is heavy. The Corsair HX 1200, so 1200 watts right here. This thing is a beast. Okay, let's see what's here. You folks don't want to look at that, right? Okay, moving on. We don't need to see that. We got a crucial 1 terabyte M.2. Not particularly exciting, but hey, you need storage space somewhere. Let's see what's here. The motherboard. You folks don't want to see this either, do you? That's not that exciting. Ooh, how about the keyboard? Yes, we can look at the keyboard. Keyboard and mouse, Logitech. Nothing particularly fancy here, I guess, but we are including it in case you need it. If you don't need it, by the way, just say as much and we'll give it away to someone else. So, mouse and keyboard included. Oh, and then, let's get it on the table here. Let's come up here. Let's just put this off to the side here. So, we got this is just a Dell brand, Dell 4K 28-inch monitor. Because, I mean, of course, when you got this, a 1080p monitor doesn't cut it. So, a Dell 28-inch 4K monitor. So that should be pretty cool. Okay, what else do you? I mean, yeah. You folks don't want to see that, did you? Okay, good. I didn't think so. Case here. This is a Corsair. I believe they call this the Spec Alpha case. Not particularly familiar with myself, but pretty cool looking case. There's the front of the case there. So kind of a cool design. Okay, let's see what's here. You folks still didn't want to see that, did you? Okay. Okay, let's get on to the guts of the computer here. So, we have the Z370 Aorus gaming motherboard here. Oh boy, all kinds of cool stuff on the back. They really outdo themselves on the back, you'll have to say. And on this motherboard, the CPU and RAM's already on here, by the way. There should be like light emanating from this, Let's pull this motherboard out, just so you folks can see it. So here is the motherboard. Again, for the CPU on there, I don't know, can I get that to show up? Hopefully you folks can see that. We have an Intel Core i7 8086. For those of you not familiar with the 8086, they kind of made that as a special edition processor to kind of commemorate the original 8086 processor. But don't worry, this 8086 is much, much faster than the original. We got it equipped with 64 gigabytes of RAM. That's at 3000 megahertz, so this is some fairly speedy RAM here. So this is going to be, let's just say, a moving motherboard here. Or at least the CPU on it. It's going to hammer pretty good. Put that back in there for now. Oh, I guess I put it back. Oh, well, we'll get to that because we got to put it in the case. Okay, let's see. What does that leave? Oh, that's okay. I suppose you folks want to see this. I mean, it's just an RTX 2080 Ti. It's, you know, yeah, it's only like the best GPU out there at the moment. Unless, of course, you get to the Titan, which I believe is either out or just coming out. But yeah, Nvidia GTX, no, not GTX, RTX. I keep calling this a GTX. RTX 2080 Ti. Just the regular edition here, by the way, from Nvidia. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so with that, everyone, let's start assembling this computer here. Okay, everyone, so the first thing we're going to do here is install our M.2 drive here, and this is a 1 terabyte Crucial. This already has 32 gigabytes of onboard, well, sort of onboard, it's also an M.2, of Optane, Intel Optane memory, which is absolutely blazing fast. And I think the plan is here we're probably going to install Windows to this. Now, of course, that's only 32 gigabytes, so that doesn't give you a whole lot of space there. And let's see, we're going to have to, no, it looks like that's perfectly adjusted. So let's take out the screw there. And nice thing about these M.2 drives, you can install them right on your motherboard now. Doesn't take up or require any space in the case form. That makes them really nice and convenient. You know, no cables to run, no power to run to them. And there we go, just like that, we got our M.2 SATA drive installed. Now, of course, as I was saying, Windows on here, all the other data will be on that drive. That is at least going to be the idea anyway. Also, just to note here as well, the CPU is already installed, as well as the RAM. So this makes our job much simpler. At this point, I believe we're ready to install this in the case here. The cooler is going to have to probably, actually I should probably check what the cooler needs for brackets here first. Let me do that, and then I think we'll be ready to install it in the case. Okay, everyone, so yes, we do have to install the back bracket before we put the motherboard in here. There is a bracket that goes behind the motherboard. And let's see what's here. Is that 3 double-sided tape? It is. Okay. So we're just going to stick that into the motherboard here. Figure out which way it goes. Looks like these are slightly adjustable. Okay. Of course, when they make these brackets, they fit multiple motherboards. Yeah, there we go. Or multiple CPUs, I should say. Now we'll just hold that in there. And we got some screws to put in here. Okay, now we're going to install the motherboard to the case. Put the back plate on here first, before we forget. I don't know why, but these are always one of the things, seems like they're easily forgotten, putting these back plates on. Okay, I think we're in. Standoffs are already installed in this case. I'm not sure if they're in the right spot or not, but we'll find out. The way I like to do it, I just line the motherboard up in there, and if they don't line up, well, I guess we gotta move them then. Got a bundle of cables here. Just get these up out of the way for the moment. Okay, and moment of truth, let's put our motherboard here into the case. And I do believe we have standoffs where we need all the standoffs to be, so that's perfect. And with these standoffs as well, they got a little spot that sticks up in them. So once we get the case or the motherboard in here, it should sit down in them, it looks like. If we get it in properly anyway. Okay, everyone, next I'm going to go ahead and install our CPU cooler here, which we're going to mount hopefully along the top of the case here. That should hopefully fit in probably, let's see, can we go, not sure which way the best way is going to be to go here. Looks like we can go either way. I'm thinking we might want to stay away from this fan though, so we're probably going to mount it this way. And that'll hopefully, yeah, that'll reach. Perfect. Okay, so let's put the fans on here first. And for that, we got 2 fans that will go on top here. Lots more screws to install. Okay, everyone, have all the fans mounted to the radiator here, and I've got them pulling out of the case. What I think we're going to do here, we got 2 fans on the front pulling in, we got 2 here pulling out. This one's also out. The power supply will undoubtedly be out as well, so I think we're going to flip this one here around so it's an in. So this will be in, both the fronts will be in. Either that, the other option would be to make these in as well, I suppose, but I think this will be the best configuration, exhausting out the top here. And with that, we have the radiator mounted. As you can see, I had to kind of scrap my original plan, flip it over and lay it this way because we got some clearance issues here. In fact, we are right on the RAM there. It seems to be okay though. The fan is clearing, but we were right on the motherboard here. And yeah, that just simply was not going to work. Now hopefully we can get this over to the CPU yet. Yeah, we should be able to. A little bit of work to get it over there, but that should be fine. And there's already pre-applied paste on the bottom, so are we ready to put it on? I think we are. So let's take this off. Try not to get that bottom on anything. Put this bracket over the top. And we're down. Okay, we have the Corsair 1200 watt power supply out here. And let me just say, this is one big, beefy, heavy power supply. And a manual to match. I mean, look at the size of this thing. They actually expect people to read that? Oh my goodness. So we'll just stick that in the bottom of the case here. Let's see, do they provide screws with this? We got like a goodie bag here of cables. I think these are all cables though. I don't really see any screws in here. Usually they include screws, but if they don't, that's fine. We got some with the case here as well. Let's see, which ones do we need? I can never remember if they take the coarse screws or the fine thread ones, so I'm not sure. Just thread one in, and that feels like that does not feel like the right one. Okay. Must be the other ones. Yeah, if you're never not sure what screws to put in it, just take one out, try it, and find out. one massive power supply installed. Okay, so 4 cables here. Let's go through them here. We are going to, for the graphics card, need 2 8-pins, I believe. Let's see, they have labeled PCI Express. Well, that's probably it. Another PCI Express. Yep, okay, we got 2 of those. Another PCI Express, we don't need another one of those. SATA, I know we need one of those. Even though our M.2 is on the motherboard, our pump here has SATA on it, as well as a fan header. I'm not sure. Oh, that's probably for sensing RPM. You plug that into the fan header, which is probably under there where I'm going to have a real hard time getting to it. We'll have to maybe take that back out if we have to, but SATA, we're going to need that. Don't need those. CPU, which is an 8-pin, yes, so we got an 8-pin CPU, we'll need that. Another PCI Express, another CPU. Oh, okay, so we can put up to 2. The motherboard requires that. This one doesn't appear to. More SATA and Molex. More Molex, I don't believe we need any of that I know of. And of course the big main CPU motherboard power right there. That should be all the cables we need. Okay, and after some rudimentary cable arrangement in here, very, not the greatest job. The one complaint I do have with this case, there is no room to run wires on the top, back behind the tray. You pretty much either have to come out that way or just straight across the motherboard. And of course, you know, your 8-pin for the CPU is never long enough to go all the way around that way anyway, so it kind of has to snake across the motherboard there. Also, there's this USB connector here for the Corsair pump. Not entirely sure what that's for. If that's probably for like maybe reading temps and stuff like that, I'm assuming. And you can send it directly to the motherboard USB. That, of course, you know, you're supposed to run that down behind the motherboard and back up over here. That, of course, yeah, again, there's no way to run it along the top of that case there that I know of. So, let's get to the exciting part here of any gaming computer, and that is the graphics card. And, of course, as we said earlier in the video here, the RTX 2080 Ti. So there it is. And an absolute beast of a card it is. So we're just going to put this first slot, should be good there. And interestingly enough, this case has thumb screws in here. I can't say I've ever seen a case with thumb screws for the brackets in the back. And this card, of course, takes up two slots there. There we go. And who said this was hard to install? And also, when I was doing the cables as well, I realized our power cables here, it has 2 8-pins on it, so we don't actually need to run 2 separate cables. This one here should do the job nicely for both. I will have to say, I'm not particularly a fan of these split cables, though, where they give you both 6 and 8-pin. It'd be nice if they just give you one or the other. Although I do get why. It's hard to get them in, though. There we go. And of course, we don't need that much wire. We'll stuff that back in there. At this point, everyone, I think the computer here is fully assembled. Again, I did switch this fan around so it is pulling in. These 2 fans are out. These 2 fans are in. The power supply is out. So if you're doing the math there, that is what, 3 outs, 3 ins. Okay, everyone, and there it is. The computer has been built. So again, 1200 watt power supply, RTX 2080 Ti, Intel i7-8086 on an Aorus Z370 motherboard, 64 gigabytes of RAM running at 3000 megahertz. H100 cooler along the top here. Strangely, no storage here. That's because it's all on the motherboard itself. A 1000 gigabyte, 1 terabyte M.2, and 32 gigabytes of Intel Optane memory. 6 fans in the system here total. Well, actually 8 if we count the ones on the GPU here. So yeah, technically that is throwing, I'm not sure if that's considered, this is throwing air out as well as pulling it in. Not entirely sure how this cooler design works here on this particular card. But yes, this is going to be one beast of a computer. And then of course we have Windows 10 to install on it. Anyone see a slight problem here? Windows 10? Yeah, this is on one of those circular thingies. They call them CD-ROMs. Actually, this is probably a DVD, but yeah, this particular case does not have any space for, or even a spot for, any sort of CD-ROM, DVD-ROM drive. So I'm going to have to address that. I believe I have a USB one around here somewhere I can use, at least get Windows installed. And of course, once it's installed, we'll be fine. But yeah, there it is. Again, everyone, stay tuned. We'll be hopefully doing a giveaway here shortly. I will try to make sure I announce the details for that. So make sure you watch like Twitter, Facebook. I will try to post it on YouTube as well. And of course, the giveaway is going to at least start over on Twitch. So again, make sure you follow me, subscribe to me on Twitch, and you'll have a chance to win this computer. And of course, that includes the monitor, the keyboard, and the Logitech heavy equipment wheel. The whole kit. So really, really sweet computer here. So yeah, I hope you folks enjoyed the computer build. Comments or questions, be sure to leave them below. I think it went pretty good. My only complaint with this particular case here is there's no cable management access along the top. That was my only problem that I had there, because otherwise the cables will have to kind of run up through there, and it particularly like that. But oh well. On that, I'm going to figure out how to install Windows on it. And yeah, like I said, everyone, beast of a computer. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And till next time.